Good Monday evening, sports fans. How you doing? I am Kendrick, the sports guy with TFG Sports Media and Kendrick Sports Hustle. We got some breaking news that broke about 2 hours ago in the world of sports, debate shows, opinionists. It's an ever-changing landscape. Man, I'm gonna see if we're gonna get some people to pop in here. Make sure you come in, like, subscribe, comment, let me know where you're watching from. The TFG Sports Media here on YouTube, as well as Kendrick Sports Hustle. That's SPORTZ, HUSTLE. Make sure you like and follow them both on Facebook. Make sure you also follow me on Instagram at KDrick1969, as well as on TikTok, Kendrick Henderson 51. So we'll wait and see if there's a couple of people jump in, because this came out of bounds sports. I'm here first. Thanks, my good brother, for popping in, man. We got some breaking news, and this broke about 2 hours ago. I can't say who was the first to broke it, but Undisputed, FS1's Undisputed. We know that it had been sinking. That ship was on life support anyway after the departure of Shannon Sharpe last summer. Well, Skip Bayless, according to the New York Post and according to other reports, that he is leaving Undisputed after 8 years with the network. His last show will be sometime this summer, according to reports that I've seen. And wow, that's all I can say. I think we all knew that there was some issues with their viewership over there. The ratings was in the dump. We knew that, but I didn't expect this to happen this quickly. Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. Make sure if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. My good brother over there, he does some good stuff following the WNBA as well. Las Vegas Aces is who he with the Asia Wilson. So make sure if you haven't, make sure you like, subscribe, check out my man over on Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. But again, man, I was like, I saw this come across. I was like, nah. I said, nah. I said, this ain't really what I'm thinking this is. And lo and behold, it is. It is. Now no one has confirmed this with FS1 or anyone with Skip Bayless with his agent or anyone that's with him. But the New York Post is saying that this is a wrap, that Skip Bayless will leave Undisputed, and Undisputed will continue. Who would be the host? Who would be the talent for that? Don't know. That's all, preliminary right now. You welcome. Welcome. Got you, brother. I got you. So this is a bombshell. But honestly, is anyone really surprised? I'm surprised that he's leaving. I'm again, this is all preliminary. Nothing has been confirmed. I thought that they would go back to the drawing board and figure out a way to maybe revamp the show, in my opinion, because I'll be honest with you, I do like Michael Irvin. I like the playmaker. I don't have a problem with Keyshawn Johnson either. I think he's cool too. Richard Sherman was okay. Paul Pierce, he didn't add nothing. I ain't no Paul Pierce fan as far as him in front of the microphone. But he didn't add anything. Rachel Nichols, I mean, yeah, she got the NBA background, the NBA pedigree. But the format and the personnel, it just lacked something, and it lacked Shannon Sharpe. Just keeping it honest. You only get that magic one time, I think, when you talk about chemistry, when you talk about doing sports talk stuff, when you talk about on air, when you only get, normally you don't get that twice. And I think Skip Bayless now is probably sitting at home like, damn, I messed up. I effed up. I could have handled my relationship with Shannon Sharpe a whole lot better. because we could have kept this train rolling, and we could have really, really, really gave First Take a run for their money. But that ego is a big thing, man. When the ego come into play, when you disrespect the person that is supposedly on your team, the universe has a way to come back to show you. So I'm sitting here like, I knew the show was on life support. Again, I personally speaking, I stopped watching Undisputed. I would see some of the clips. I would watch a little bit more during football season, obviously because of Michael Irvin, Keyshawn, and Richard Sherman. I watched it a little bit more, but Skip Bayless isn't a host. That's not his strength. I think he couldn't he couldn't carry the show by himself. Even if you look at Skip Bayless' podcast, I don't know if you check his podcast out on YouTube. I mean, it's just bland, in my opinion. And Skip Bayless is a well-known. He's got experience. He's been a journalist for 40 plus years, and he's been in the game for a minute. But a lot of times that don't. You got to be entertaining in front of this microphone. You got to have that it factor. And I think the guys that they tried to revamp after Shannon left, I don't think it just didn't work. My brother, his podcast is not good at all. I agree. It's not good at all. It's not. I mean, it's just him sitting in front, I mean, I could, people could probably say that about me too. I'm just sitting in front of the camera, but it just isn't good. I can't put my finger on it. I think Skip is a type. He's a type of sports opinionist. He needs somebody to argue with, or to debate with, because he's always going to come with you with this out of left field type of his narrative, and that's what makes him work. That's what's made him work all these years. Even at First Take with him and Stephen A. Smith. So again, if you hadn't heard, breaking news, it's being reported that Skip Bayless is leaving FS1 Undisputed after 8 years at the network. I think he had signed a 5-year deal. Like I want to say 2 years ago, he signed a new 5-year deal that I think that was roughly paying him between 11 and 12 million a year, I believe. Oh, you know what? I take that back. It was a 4-year deal, $32 million deal in 2021. So what's next? What is he gonna do? Obviously, Bayless is gonna do his own thing. Again, he has his own podcast. Will he look to reunite with ESPN? Which that's a possibility too, man, because in this industry, you never say never. You never say never. Stephen A. Smith is in contract negotiations with ESPN right now. He's looking to be their first $100 million on-air personality. His deal is up in July of next year, so he can't do anything until this time next year. But will FS1 try to now lure him away from ESPN? See, it's this could get really messy. I ain't gonna say messy. This could get really interesting just to see what happens. I don't know as far as with Bayless's contract, is there a non-compete? Can he not go to ESPN or any other competing network because he's leaving? I don't know. Depends on the wording in his contract. But this could set the stage for some bidding wars for on-air personalities. And now that I'm thinking about this, did Bayless do this to set up a bidding war? Did Bayless do this to make it even better for his guy, Stephen A? Stephen A may could have a little leverage now. Say, hey, Skip Bayless is going for FS1. Will FS1 come and sneak in and try to lure Steve? Again, who's going to be taken to the senior prom? This is kind of like who's the best looking? Who's the best looking? Who we going to get? So, man, this is big news. This is big news. Again, Undisputed, their numbers were they were in the it was in the tank. I think in February they had one of their lowest rated shows where they only had, I think, like 50,000 viewers on one of their shows. And there was some comparisons to some of the ESPN2 late night shows and this and that that were growing, that was having that had better numbers than the Undisputed at its time slot, which again is at a great time slot. What, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, I believe, somewhere around there. They're competing against First Take and First Things First and all that. So, but the shakeup, the ghost of Shannon Sharp is killing FS1. The ghost of Shannon Sharp. And I wonder, did Skip Bayless decide to go ahead and take that L and leave because FS1 was looking at maybe getting rid of him? I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. There is a lot to unpack here. And here's the thing: the NFL season is about to kick off. We got training camps about to jump off in 2 weeks. Matter of fact, some training camps going to start the end of this week, I believe. Preseason games going to be starting in 3 weeks, and you're not going to have a sports topic show without on FS1. Who's going to fill in for him? Are you going to? Now, word is, what I've been reading is they're going to continue the Undisputed show. Word is. So, who are you going to look to to lead that show? Again, this is all preliminary. I'm getting a lot of this information from the New York Post as well as Sports Illustrated. So there, again, there's no word yet on Bayless' next move. So again, Bayless left ESPN First Take in 2016 to start this new show on FS1 Undisputed, and he's been with them ever since. He handpicked Shannon Sharp to be his co-host. At that time, FS1 executives wasn't really high on Shannon, but Skip Bayless wanted him, and doggone it, Shannon Sharp turned into that dude. And look at what Shannon is now with his club Shay Shay and with Nightcap. He's won a Webby, I believe, for best podcast. He's done some big things. He's on ESPN First Take with Stephen A. Smith, who, again, Shannon Sharp just signed a multi-year contract deal with ESPN and First Take. So all has been well on that end as far as Skip Bayless, man. What's next? What's his next move? That's the question. What do you guys think Skip Bayless' next move is? Out of Bounds Podcast, my good brother. What do you think Skip Bayless' next move is? What do you think he's gonna do next? What do you think he do? Is he leveraging something? Again, I don't know what his contract, the wording is in Skip Bayless' contract, as far as leaving the network before the end. Again, he just signed that extension back 3 years ago, 4 years, $32 million. So roughly his contract was going to be up next year anyway. As far as Skip Bayless, what do you think his next move is going to be? Will he? I don't think his YouTube channel, his podcast is, like you said, Out of Bounds. It's not great. He might try to hook up with Stephen A. Again, possibility. I mean, it depends on these contract negotiations that Stephen A. has with ESPN. Again, I think ESPN ain't crazy. I think they're going to give him his bread. I do. I think, when you talk about the face of that network, Stephen A. is the face. He does more things. He has more jobs. I mean, he does more than the other guys do. He does more than Troy Aikman and Joe Buck and Pat McAfee and Mike Greenberg and just to name, just name those off the top of my head who I know they are the face. Scott Van Pelt. I think Stephen A. does a whole. He has his hands in a lot more than those guys do, and so he wants that $25 million per year. $100 million deal. And I think at this point, ESPN probably has to give it to him. But now with Skip Bayless, going, it's like, yo, I'm out. I'll see you when I see you. Now it's going to be interesting to see. It kind of feels like free agency in the sports world now. You got these sports opinionists, because I call them opinionists, journalists. Journalists can be used loosely because a lot of times they're not really being journalists. They more so being opinionists and personalities. That's, especially Stephen A. But this is about Skip Bayless, man. No, he hasn't signed. He hasn't signed a deal out of bounds, nor has he been offered. All we know is there are rumors that he wants at least a 4 to 5 year deal, worth $100 million, $100 million contract. That's what's been out there. As far as a contract offered, there has been no reports of them, ESPN, offering him any contract at all. Again, his deal isn't up to July 2025, so they don't have to really do anything until this time next year. They just in contract negotiations right now. So I think at this point they can't lose him because he brings the eyeballs, he brings the revenue. Torius Williams says, I never like him anyway. ESPN is losing viewers to social media, Kendrick. Yeah, social media definitely is taking over the game, but First Take is making a whole lot of money though. And Stephen A is the executive producer of that. Social media definitely has changed the game. And I agree with you, Tori. You do have to look at that. You do have to look at your social media presence as far as content creators that do their own thing. But he is the face of ESPN, regardless if you like him or not. I mean, I don't. Stephen A is all right. I think he does a lot more entertaining than he does. It's for entertainment value than anything else. But I think at the end of the day, the numbers that First Take is pulling, they killing their competitors. They killing Undisputed. They killing First Things First. They killing Speak. I don't even put them in the mix. I don't even think they in a competition. So they are driving morning sports talk. They are. That's the name of the game, and they're getting the viewership. And Stephen A is he's the reason behind it. Again, regardless if you like him or not, he brings eyeballs to the set because you're wondering what the hell he's going to say next, and it's something that you may not like, or it may be something you agree with. That's the name of the game. So ESPN, they've already cut all these other on-air talents, so it's not like they don't have the money. Out of Bounds says Shannon will take Stephen A's spot at First Take. Keyshawn will host Undisputed, and Skip and Stephen A will hook it up again. Watch. I wouldn't be shocked at all with that. I wouldn't be shocked at all at that. Out of Bounds Sports Podcast says I don't like Stephen A. My thoughts on Stephen A. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of his. I don't dislike him, but I also know that he brings something to the table too. I'm a real recognized real. Is Stephen A worth $100 million? I believe he is. I do. If you look at the bottom line and you look at the numbers that he brings to ESPN, he deserves a little bit of that bread. Again, do you know the one thing I don't like about Stephen A? The one thing he said that I can't rock with is he said, and I would quote this, and he said it. He said he wakes up every morning trying to figure out a way that he can make more money for his bosses. Anytime a person has that mentality, they dangerous. And that's what I don't like Stephen A. He's a little bit brash for my taste, a little bit arrogant. But again, a lot of people like that type of stuff. And he gets viewers. If they didn't, First Take wouldn't be hands above everybody else as far as ratings. Tori says, I hardly turn on ESPN unless it's for a game. Watch the social media, mostly for my news. Stephen Crazy Ass is better as Brick on General Hospital. I hear you, Tori. Miss Tori, it's good to see you too. I've been missing you, by the way. I know you saw the story about Jacoby, the former Baltimore Ravens Jacoby Jones. And I thought about you when I saw that you and your husband. I know y'all big time Ravens fans. I thought about you. I hadn't seen you in a minute. Out of bounds, exactly. who else? Craig, what up, CT? What's happening? Yeah, so if you just popping in, breaking news, Skip Bayless, the New York Post, is reporting that he is leaving Undisputed after 8 years at the network, and he's going to be leaving sometime at the end of the summer. So this is going to throw that show's NFL coverage up in the air because, again, we got training camps getting ready to pop off here in the next couple of weeks. I know Dallas Cowboys training camp starts July 24th. Other camps I think start earlier. Just depends on who's playing in that the Hall of Fame game. So they normally starts a week earlier. So will they Out of Bound Podcast said he believed that they're gonna put Keyshawn Johnson. He just started his new podcast too, by the way. They may move him to the host with Richard Sherman and Michael Irvin. And as far as the NFL coverage, I like Irvin. I like Irvin. I like his personality. I don't dislike Keyshawn either. Some people don't like Keyshawn. Richard Sherman's all right. I don't have to watch him. I know he does Thursday Night Football for Amazon Prime. We're gonna say this, and then Out of Bounds Podcast. Sport, I may have to block you for this comment, Out of Bounds Sports Podcast, but I knew it was coming sooner or later. Cowboys Super Bowl champs. Probably not, but I'm gonna let you live. I'm gonna let you live with that comment. my good brother. I knew you was coming with that. I'm gonna let you enjoy it. I'm gonna let you enjoy that moment. Out of Bounds Podcast. Craig says, I just heard about it. It's funny how they say he's leaving. Yeah, okay, let's go with that. Hey, Craig, I'm kind of feeling you. I think they're pushing him out the door. I think they're allowing him to leave. I think they got fed up with these low numbers and all the other stuff. And I think they basically gave him say, hey, you know what? This ain't working. These numbers aren't working for us. We're gonna give you opportunity to leave, or if not, we getting you out of here. I'm with you, Craig. I believe they was really getting ready to can him, but they wanted to give him the opportunity to leave on his own accord. You know how they do. You know how corporate does. That's how they do. You know what I'm saying? So Out of Bounds Podcast is laughing. Hey man, y'all Cowboy fans, y'all come on here every year talking about this y'all year, y'all Super Bowl champs, and I let y'all make it, but come on, bro, yikes, gee whiz. So we're gonna let you make it Out of Bounds. Miss Toria says Miss Devin would like Out of Bounds comments. Of course she would. Miss Devin definitely would. So I just wanted to pop in and do this breaking news again. I once more information come out, I probably will produce a segment on this. But right now, again, what is very limited, the information we do have. Again, but I do know the numbers for Undisputed had hit rock bottom. I do know that. I did a couple of segments on that. And it just wasn't working. It just wasn't. I wasn't watching it anymore. I think Skip Bayless isn't a host. I don't think that's his strength. I think he's more of the guy that you go at, or you know what I'm saying. I don't think he can carry a show. That's why I'm with you, Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. That's why his podcast on YouTube, to me, it sucks. He can't carry that show. It's bland. It's basically like potato salad with raisins in it. Don't nobody want to eat that. so that's where I look at Skip Bayless. Again, I know he's a experienced journalist, been in the game 40 plus years, writing for the Dallas Times Herald. I didn't even like him then. He's been in the game for a minute, so I'm not gonna disrespect his he didn't put the game in. But we also know that Shannon Sharp leaving that show, it definitely hurt. It hit them in a bad way. Craig says he thought he didn't need Shannon. Turns out he did. Yes, sir. And it turns out Shannon really didn't need him. Now that the tables are turned. So will we see a Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless reuniting. I doubt it. It could have happened. You never say it never. You never know in this business. You just never know. But I did produce a segment about 2 weeks ago where Shannon says that he and Skip hadn't talked since he left the show, and he said eventually that he hopefully they would sit down and talk, and maybe maybe they will spin the block. But I think that's over and done with. I think Shannon don't need Skip. Shannon don't need Skip no more. Uncle Shannon don't need him no more. Skip probably needs Shannon more than Shannon needs Skip at this point. And it's funny how the tables have turned. That's why you always you always respect people, man. You always respect people, especially if they're your teammate and they've helped you build something. You respect them. Because Skip was the one that ruined that relationship. Craig says Skip ruined the relationship with Shannon. Skip is too stubborn to apologize. I agree with that, definitely. And he's not. But he might have to kind of. I ain't gonna say bow down, but he might have to figure out something now. So we'll see what happens. So I want to know what you guys think. Out of Bounds podcast already told me what he think is going to happen with Skip Bayless. Craig, what do you think is going to happen with Skip Bayless next? Where will he end up? Miss Toria, where do you think Skip Bayless will end up? I would like to know you all's thoughts. Will he end up spinning the block with Stephen A. Smith again? Again, Stephen A. is under contract. He's with ESPN. His deal is up with ESPN in July 2025. If they don't reach an agreement, where he and Skip Bayless form another team and come to ESPN with their own show, and they decide to go a different route, and Shannon Sharp will be the first take guy. Is that a possibility? What do you guys think will happen? And as far as the show Undisputed, will they can it all together? Will FS1 say, you know what? We're just going to ball this up like some bad homework, throw it away, start over, recruit some other talent. So I'd like to know what you guys think on that. Ms. Toria says he may try his hand with Steven. If not, he would take a payout and retire. Okay. Call it a career and maybe just do his YouTube channel stuff. Okay. Yeah, I mean, hell, he's been in the game 40 plus years. He could just ride off into the sunset and call it a career. Again, because social media is such a big thing now. He could just do his YouTube thing if he just want to. I'm sure he gets sponsors. I'm sure he got sponsorships with that. And then he can just do that, do it at his own leisure. Craig says, I think a Skip and Stephen A won't happen. Skip would need to find another Shannon Sharp type or retire. Okay. So Craig, CT, and Miss Toria, y'all both thinking the same thing, that it's possibility that this is it. He'll maybe retire. Okay. All right. So that's the scenarios there. Again, all the information I got is it was first reported by New York Post that Skip Bayless is out after 8 years. Undisputed. Undisputed will continue. That show will have to be revamped and see who they go with there. So again, I am Kendrick Sports Guy. You guys, y'all make sure y'all keep it locked here for all your sports news, entertainment, and information and all that. Again, I'm gonna continue scouring these internet streets for more information. I probably will produce a segment on this tomorrow once more information is released or what that, and we'll go from there. And Monday night, breaking news. I'm digging it. So I think the landscape of sports debate shows is ever changing. You're probably going to see a lot of more of the social media, YouTube content creators become a lot more visible than you probably see on your regular cable airwaves. And it is like that. It's a lot of these YouTube content creators that's out here that's drawing, that has big numbers subscribers, big numbers that can compete with these cable networks. Far as viewership, far as views, it's a lot of them out there. I'm not in that mix yet, you know, knock on wood, but I hopefully I will get there. But it's a lot of people don't even really watch those shows like that. They tend to follow and subscribe to YouTube content creators more so than they are following a lot of these the regular national networks, whatnot. So and Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith and specifically Shannon Sharp, Uncle Shannon, he definitely knows that the YouTube streets, it's a big piece of the pie out there now. So again, I am Kendrick the Sports Guy. Again, I wanted to pop in and give you this breaking news. Skip Bayless leaving FS1 Undisputed after 8 years. So make sure you like, share this, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You also, if you like to contribute, you're not obligated, you can hit my Cash App right there, $1969 Kendrick. Also, there is a little button during my live streams that it's a thank you. You can contribute whatever you contribute. I would definitely appreciate. Again, you're not obligated, but all of it is going back and investing in me, in this platform, in this network, to do a little bit more, get a little bit more equipment, get some different backgrounds, do some other things, man. So again, I want to thank everybody that popped in Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. If you haven't, make sure you go subscribe to my good brother's Out of Bounds Sports Podcast on YouTube. He follows WNBA big time, Las Vegas Aces. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. Go check him out. Miss Toria, appreciate your support as always. You are greatly appreciated, as my good brother Craig Thomas, Chicago, my good guy, my Midwestern brother. You are appreciated as well. I definitely appreciate you all support. So again, you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. Make sure you keep it liked here. Again, we'll be doing a follow-up on this Skip Bayless leaving Undisputed sometime tomorrow. So you guys have a good night. We will see you on the other side and on the next report. I am out. Peace.